No one is anyone until they are. Kneecap was written and directed by Rich Pipiat. This is his feature-length project. Check out his IMDb page for the full list of his work. This is set in West Belfast, Ireland, where two lads, Nisha and Liam OG, basically just want to keep the native Irish language alive. So does a teacher named JJ that's bound and determined to keep teaching this in the curriculum, but let's just say political strife and a whole bunch of forces are working against every single person to keep the native Irish language alive. And honestly, that's how you go back to your history. That's how you go back to your roots. That's how you appreciate your elders. You appreciate everything that came before you, and you honor everything that your country was built upon. You honor everything that your legacy was built upon. And that's the thing. Native languages are absolutely paramount to keeping the world history alive. And let's just say there are certain forces, like people wanting them to speak the Queen's English, that are saying, no, you can't speak the native language. Speak the Queen's English. Well, you have Nisha and Liam OG who say, bollocks to that. We're just going to do our own thing, and we're going to tell our story and keep the native Irish language alive through hip-hop music. And with the help of a music teacher named JJ, they are able to do that, and this is their story. Dung dung. Okay, and the only way you could tell the story of Kneecap, which, by the way, if you're unfamiliar with Kneecap, well, so the fuck was I. Don't worry. I did see the trailer a couple times and was like, okay, this seems fun. The reviews have been pretty goddamn good. Really, really good, in fact. So I was like, all right, let me give it a shot. But how do you tell the story of the rise of a hip-hop group speaking the native Irish language and rising up despite all obstacles? Well, basically, you have the members of Kneecap themselves not only tell the story by, adding their own things and saying this is how the story happened, but also starring in it. And I do want to say that could be a double-edged sword. You could either have something really, really apocalyptically awful, like just self-serving. This is how we're going to tell our story. We're just going to say bollocks to all that, and we're just going to do what we want. Or you could do what they did in Kneecap and tell it through dark comedy, tremendous social commentary, and some really good performances. Laid back, but also in your goddamn face. These guys are naturals. They are great entertainers. I need to check out more of their goddamn music. The music's catchy, I'll say that much. I don't know what the fuck they're saying. Had it not been for the subtitles and the animation, I wouldn't have had a clue what they were saying. And despite the fact that, yes, you could argue this might just be an Irish version of Hard Day's Night, that still was a pretty damn fun movie and pretty telling, and also talked about the Beatles' rise and all that stuff. And this shows how hard Kneecap actually had to work and how hard it is to keep your native language alive. And again, great performances by the three members, but also let me shout the rest of the cast. You had Detective Ellis, Josie Walker, who was great as just an evil bitch cop. I don't mean the actress, I mean the character. She was great. You had Georgia, Jessica Reynolds, who played a love interest of one of the guys. And I'm not going to try to pronounce the names of the actual members of Kneecap because I don't want to screw that up. But the two lads, you have Nisha and Liam OG. That's really about it right there. Because look at I don't want to mess it up. But there's also some layers to these particular people. You have JJ, who's a music teacher who wants to help out these guys and really does want to push forth with, keeping the native Irish language alive and doing a lot of great things and pushing back against all the bullshit that's going on. And there's a lot of real life political commentary and political, unrest going on here. And it's bullshit that the Irish, particularly Northern Ireland, were, just caught in the middle of this when they just wanted to live and honor their ancestors and all that. And that's the nice thing about this. The dark comedy works. The music works. The music's fucking goddamn catchy as hell. There's a lot of really nice breeziness to this whole thing. Sure, there are some, familiar beats that it follows, ironically, for a film about music. But it has such a nice nature to it. It really is fun. And it just tells the story in a nice way, while also talking about some of the truth and bringing some things up that some people still don't want to talk about, and some stuff that is very real and very recent, and the fact that Northern Ireland was going through this stuff and maybe still does go through this stuff. I don't know. I'm not from there. The fact is, this actually is a fantastic goddamn movie. Is it absolutely one of the best of the year? We'll find out at the end of the year, because I'll work on my list, because we're only in the beginning of August. But this definitely is one of the best films that I've seen in quite a while. Entertaining, thought-provoking, great stuff. All around, I really did appreciate what the members of Kneecap did. Now, if there is stuff that I totally missed, if you are familiar with the story and I just, totally bought into a syrupy sweet edition, just a baseline edition, point me to something where I can find out more about the members of the group. I will be checking out some of their music, but I was very entertained by this. As somebody that was very unfamiliar with the whole thing, they immersed me, they got me, and there were some great pieces of dialogue, like right from the beginning. You had every fucking story about Belfast starts like this, but not this story. Michael Fassbender is also in this. Simone Kirby is in this, and there are some good performances here. It does bounce around a little bit. We do get some flashbacks. Michael Fassbender, I think, was lent here really for star power. He's not given a bunch to do. I mean, he plays a central, character for, a particular couple parts of the story. But as far as what he was given to do, he's more in the background. And it's all about the members of Kneecap getting to tell their story. And again, the lads did a really, really good job here. So I was very entertained, very much enjoyed it. I'm going to be getting into spoilers. It's in theaters. If you want to check it out soon, 3, 2, 1, spoilers. So, yeah, there's music here. There's quite a bit of fun hip-hop. Really good beats, by the way. These guys actually do understand how to be entertainers. And yeah, they do drugs, a lot of goddamn drugs. Jessica Reynolds gets railed like crazy a few times. I mean, she's a beautiful Irish woman, so who could really blame anybody for that? But there, I did kind of like the parts where they were talking, like both guys were talking about, drugs and everything, and Liam in particular was talking about having, needing some help, keeping his dick up, to talking about orgasming and all that stuff. That was kind of funny. There is a certain swear word that they say that starts with a C that I can't say. I wish I could. It's just one of my favorite insults. But I did like the subtitles and the animation parts where it almost kind of reminded me of Charlie XCX's Boom Clap video. Is what it actually kind of reminds me of. And there is a really good line that actually holds meaning regardless of your language. Every Irish word spoke is a bullet for Irish freedom. Mean keep your history alive. The amount of drugs is insane. JJ also is worried that his face being exposed, even though he's really good with music and he not only is he a great music teacher, but he wants to help these guys out because he believes in what they're doing, but he doesn't want to be seen. So at one point they give him an Irish, ski mask to wear, and he's out there doing that, but they're on so many drugs. It's actually kind of a miracle that they're even alive given the amount of drugs that they did. And I don't know if that was totally overstated, just how many drugs they did. Because popping Molly, popping acid, whatever the hell, they were going insane. I did like the one funny part where basically Liam goes through and gets, I believe it was Liam, goes through, gets a baton from this British band, and then Smack My Bitch Up by Prodigy plays. That popped me because I loved that song when I was younger. Whatever happened to Prodigy, by the way? Because they had a few hits in the U.S., and then I haven't heard anything about them since. Are they all right? There was one funny thing where they ran into some members of Republicans, or radical Republicans against drugs, where they are, they're trying to keep, they're basically kind of like trying to be, an Irish force and be out for themselves, essentially. I mean, that's kind of what the story's told here, but they said, oh, look, it's because they run to Liam and Nisha, and they say, look who it is, Bone Thugs and No Harmony. That was funny. By the way, Nisha is spelled like Naoise, but Irish. It's like Saoirse Ronan, but you take a look at how her name's spelled, you wouldn't think that's how it's spelled. I also want to point out, by the way, I will watch just about anything Saoirse Ronan's in, because my God, she is gorgeous, but she's not in this. So, kneecap is short for kneecapping, which is like putting a bullet in your knee. Michael Fassbender's character, Arlo, I believe is his name, he kind of disappears for a bit, and it's either to do some kind of thing where he's going to build this resistance and whatever, or maybe he just wanted to go off the goddamn grid. his wife isn't aware that he's still alive, or maybe he isn't, just doesn't give a shit. There's a few flashbacks about him wanting to keep the Irish language alive. Says watch a cowboy movie or Western movie, but watch it from the point of the Indians, the underdogs fighting from underneath. It's a nice little subtext there. And so Liam and Georgia, even though it's like a toxic relationship, they're still constantly getting together, banging a lot, good Lord. And Ellis actually is her aunt, and she's a cop that is bound, determined to take these lads down and quell this resistance, because no, we need to speak the Queen's English, we can't be speaking this. There's also a little yellow diary, or book, so to speak, journal, I guess would be the word, that, that one of them has, that has all these lyrics, and all these beats and stuff like that, and all these Irish words that they turn into their song. I believe there's a song called Rights, and there's a song called Bloodbath. Those were the words that stuck out. So if I got that wrong, I apologize. But yeah, pretty catchy goddamn soundtrack. So I'm going to check out more of that shit. And also, oh yes, it seems like once they get separated, because you got to keep them separated. Hey, there's a point where the RRAD guys talk about, you got to give us our cut of money, this kind of stuff, talking about drugs, because of the way they get drugs. We're not against drugs, we're just against people profiting over us, essentially, I believe is what they were saying. And they got recorded, so that got played at their concert. So they were pissed. They start to beat up one of them, well, actually they beat up Nisha, while Liam is basically taken to the goddamn cop, the police station, and beaten with a baton by Ellis. And then he realizes during this beating that he loves Georgia. Yeah, that's when you realize you love somebody, when you're getting the shit beat out of you. I mean, if that isn't love, I don't think that's love. I don't really think that is, but that might be head trauma. Whatever, it's fine. But Michael Fassbender then shows back up and sees the guys and says, you know what? If he's gonna die, if his blood's gonna spill, it should be his blood that spills it. So he's going to do that, but they give him the one gun that they have, and then he ends up shooting them instead of shooting his son, obviously. And he says, who brings one gun to a kneecapping? Because what if I turn it on you? You don't got any way to defend yourself. And he also mentioned a little bit earlier to his son that if you're not careful, you're going to end up down a dark alley. And he ended up down an alleyway while the guys are dragging themselves away. And then also in December 2022, I forget what the name of the act was. It was at the end of the movie, but basically, in keeping the native language alive, you're able to do that. It's not like against the law, which it shouldn't have been anyway. They should be able to live how they want and keep their history alive. But yeah, there you go. And that's about it. And then we get an encore performance. And I gotta say, again, it wasn't just self-serving. These guys actually did a really good job as far as not hitting you over the head with stuff. They weren't just burying people, they were working with the cast and telling a cohesive narrative and keeping the whole thing going. So I was really entertained by this. It was right up there with Femme, which was a really tremendous movie, by the way. That got an A+, and Kneecap gets an A+ for the entertainment. Maybe it's not quite the, up there with 5 stars, but it's damn close. Like anything 4.5 to 5 stars gets an A+, just want to say it on my scale. So yeah, really, really good stuff. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Rutland. I'll see you soon.